नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भवन्तु सेवया भगवति उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी Canto 4, Chapter 20, Lord Vishnu's appearance in the sacrificial arena of Maharaj Prithu. Text number 28 onwards. Somebody's phone is not muted. Mine still getting muted. Okay. Jagat Jananyam Jagdish Vaishasam Tyadev Yat Karmani Nah Samihitam Karoshi Falgi Apuru Dina Vatsalah Swayev Dhishne Abhiratasya Kim Taya.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, your camera has tilted to some other place. So it is.
Okay, better now.
Thank you.
My dear Lord of the universe, the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, is the mother of the universe, and yet I think that she may be angry with me because of my intruding upon her service and acting on that very platform to which she is so much attached. Yet I am hopeful that even though there is some misunderstanding, you will take my part, for you are very much inclined to the poor, and you always magnify even insignificant service unto you. Therefore, even though she becomes angry, I think there is no harm for you because you are self-sufficient and you can do without her. So Prithu Maharaj is saying she might get mad at me because I'm taking over her service. Mother Lakshmi Ji, the goddess of fortune, is well known for always massaging the lotus feet of Lord Narayan. See, her position is she is always at the chest of Lord Narayan in the form of that golden lion, Shri Vatsa. But she likes to do the massaging of the lotus feet of Lord Narayan, even though she is supposed to be at the chest. She is an ideal wife because she takes care of Narayan takes care of Lord Narayan in every detail. She takes care not only of his lotus feet, but of the household affairs of the Lord as well. She cooks nice foods for him, fans him while he eats, smooths sandalwood pulp on his face, and sets his bed and sitting places in the right order. In this way, she is always engaged in the service of the Lord, and there is hardly any opportunity for any other devotee to intrude upon his daily activities. So sometimes devotees, because they like to talk more about Patni Dharma, and they point to this point, what Prabhupada is saying, she's an ideal wife, and the duties of ideal wife they try to explain to their wives. But they forget that she is the ideal wife of Lord Narayan, and Lord Narayan is an ideal husband. So if the husband is ideal, just like Lord Narayan, then wife can be ideal like Lakshmi Ji. So it's not just one way street. This is a mutual understanding relationship where both husband and wife should take care of each other, serve each other, instead of one person exploiting the other. That's not an ideal relationship in any way. Prithu Maharaj was therefore almost certain that his intrusion into the service of the goddess of fortune would irritate her and cause her to become angry with him. But why should Mother Lakshmi, the mother of the universe, be angry with an insignificant devotee like Prithu Maharaj? All this was not very likely. Yet Prithu Maharaj, just for his personal protection, appealed to the Lord to take his part, means to take his side. In the shloka it is said, even if she becomes angry at me, you take my part because you are very much inclined to the poor. You are Deen Vatsal. Prithu Maharaj was engaged in performing the ordinary Vedic rituals and sacrifices according to Karmakanda or fruitive activities. But the Lord, being so kind and magnanimous, was ready to award Prithu Maharaj the highest perfectional stage of life, namely devotional service. So Prithu Maharaj is asking the Lord, imploring his Deen Vatsal, Patit Pavan characteristics. Please, you be merciful upon me and still keep me engaged in your devotional service. When a person performs Vedic rituals and sacrifices, he does so to elevate himself to the heavenly planets. No one can become qualified to go back home, back to Godhead by means of such sacrifices. But the Lord is so kind that he accepts a little insignificant service, and therefore it is stated in the Vishnu Puran that by following the principles of Varnashram Dharma, one can satisfy the Supreme Lord. When the Lord is satisfied, the performer of sacrifices is elevated to the platform of devotional service. Prithu Maharaj therefore expected that his insignificant service to the Lord would be accepted by him as being greater than that of Lakshmiji. The goddess of fortune is called Chanchala, restless, because she is very restless and is always coming and going. So Prithu Maharaj indicated that even though she might go away out of anger, there would be no harm for Lord Vishnu because he is self-sufficient and can do anything and everything without the help of Lakshmiji. For example, when Garbhodaksha Vishnu begot Lord Brahma from his navel, he did not take any help from Lakshmiji, who was just sitting by him and massaging his lotus feet. Generally, if a son is to be begotten, the husband impregnates the wife, and in due course of time, the son is born. But in the case of Lord Brahma's birth, Garbhodaksha Vishnu did not impregnate Lakshmiji. Being self-sufficient, the Lord begot Brahma from his own navel. Therefore, Prithu Maharaj was confident that even if the goddess of fortune became angry with him, there would be no harm, neither to the Lord nor to himself. Because the Lord is self-sufficient. But still, even though he is self-sufficient, he still likes his devotees to be around, and especially Lakshmiji. Just like we have discussed the story of Lakshmiji at Jagannath Puri. Although Lord Jagannath is self-sufficient, but still she does so much of services for him. The cooking, all the cooks are associates of Lakshmiji. Because in Jagannath Puri, he likes to eat a lot. So all the cooks, all the pujaris who do the dressing of Lord Jagannath, who does different kind of worships for him, they all are assistants of Lakshmiji. So in the kitchen of Jagannath Puri, of Lord Jagannath, it is said that the cooks, they keep all the ingredients in the pots, and 7 pots are kept one over the other on hundreds of stoves. And the final chonk every day is done by Lakshmiji herself. That is why it's so amazingly tasty, amazingly. And we know there's one that on Thursday is the day of Lakshmiji. So for you all, it's Thursday right now. And in Jagannath Puri, on Thursday, Lakshmiji was allowed to go out and to go to any of her devotees' house to bless them with opulence of Lord Jagannath's devotion. So one Thursday she went out, and then she was going around Jagannath Puri, and then there was a household where they had made wonderful shadam for Lakshmi ji. So Lakshmi ji went there and she accepted the bhoga. But that was the house of a Chandalini. Her name was Shreya Chandalini. But it was her day, Thursday, and she was allowed to go to her devotee's house. So there was no restriction on that. But while she was coming back, Balramji told Jagannathji that, Krishna, see, she had eaten in the house of a Chandalini, and now she cannot cook for us. In fact, she cannot even enter this temple. We cannot allow her. So Jagannathji said, Daoji, it's going to be a big problem if we don't allow her. I mean, come on, it's Lakshmi ji. And Balramji said, see, Krishna, I knew that you would take side of your wife. You would not listen to me. So now it's a deal. Either she comes or I stay. If she's going to come, I'm going to leave. Now, Balramji, being elder brother of Jagannathji had to order his pujaris that close the doors, tell her not to come. So when she came back, the doors were closed, locked. And she was told she is not allowed to come in. She said, why? They said, because you have eaten at the house of a Chandalini and this is an order from up above, you cannot come in now. She argued, but the gatekeeper said, we are just servants, we cannot do anything. Okay, she left. But while going, she ordered her associates, the pujaris, and especially the cooks. She said, come with me, you're not staying here. And bring all the bhoga from the whole storeroom, everything. So she left. And now in Jagannath Puri, today somehow I happened to post that picture of the prasad that is being cooked at Jagannath Puri. And Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, they like to eat a lot. So they got up in the morning and there was no bhoga. And they asked the pujari, what happened to bhoga? He said, there's nobody cooked. There's nothing in the storeroom either. Where Lakshmi ji left, all our servants left. Everybody's gone. And Jagannathji said, see, Daoji, I told you there'll be a big problem. Let's call her back. Call Lakshmi ji back. No. You're taking side of your wife. What kind of man you are? We have so many disciples. We have so many devotees in Jagannath Puri. So we'll go to anybody's house. They'll feed us. No problem. So they left, both of them. Subhadraji said, I'm not part of all this. I'm staying here. So they both left. And so happened because whole Jagannath Puri, they are afraid of Lakshmi ji. Because if Lakshmi ji is not there, then what will they do? How are they going to serve the Lord? So Lakshmi ji had told everybody that, she told Agni Deva, today you're not going to appear in anybody's house for cooking. So Jagannath and Baldev, they were out there. They were trying to find some prasad, some bhoga, something to eat, but no Brahman had any cooking done at their homes. There was no Agni. And then Lakshmi ji ordered Suryadeva to shine very brightly today. And Suryadeva had to follow the orders. So now Krishna Balram, they are out there and it's getting hot, it's sandy and nothing to eat. So finally they found some person and he was giving some donation of puffed rice, muri, to people. And they said, okay, we'll find something. So they both went to that person. And when they were about to have that muri in their hands, Lakshmiji ordered, Vayudev, okay, you should start blowing very nicely. And Vayudev came and the whole Muri was gone in the air. Krishna Balram, they didn't get anything to eat. Now it was getting too much. So roaming around Jagannath Puri, they came to a house, and that house had people coming out of that house, and they were saying, "Oh, such a nice feast we had today. There was nothing else available in whole Jagannath Puri, and this place, it was so much of feast, so many preparations. It's wonderful." And Balramji said, "See, we'll get something here. See, there's no problem." So they both went in, and as soon as they sat down, they found the prasadam was finished. Okay, now what to do? But Balramji said that we can cook. So they asked the host, if you have some bhoga, we can make prasadam on our own. And also, they found this was a house of a chandal. So they said, we cannot eat your cooking anyway, so we'll make our own prasadam. So Balramji told Jagannath that you start cooking, and there's all the bhoga is there. You start cooking, and I'll go to the ocean, take bath, and come back, and we'll both have prasadam. Jagannath said, "Okay, Krishna." So Balramji went for bathing. Krishna was starting to cook. Jagannath started to cook, but because it was ordered by Lakshmiji, Agni Dev not to appear. So there was no fire in the stove. It was only smoke. He was blowing in the smoke, in the wood, and no fire. Only smoke was coming out, and it was his eyes were all red with the smoke. And Balramji came back and he said, "What, Jagannath? You didn't cook anything. What's wrong with you? You don't know how to cook?" And then Balramji tried. There was no fire, only smoke coming out, and both the brothers were sitting there with red eyes. And then the host lady came out with 2 plates of prasadam, full of prasadam. And then she served both of them. And Balramji was eating. He said, "It tastes just like what Lakshmiji used to cook for us." So they asked who cooked, and Lakshmiji came out from inside that I made the preparations. But this is the house of that Chandalini, Shreya Chandalini. And you both have eaten in this house, same house. So now we are in the same caste, right? So I can come. And Balramji just nudges Krishna, like, okay, you tell her, yeah, she can come. So the point was, although Krishna is self-satisfied, self-sufficient, but he still needs his devotees. He needs that loving reciprocations. And we know how at the end of Rath Yatra, when the Jagannath Rath Yatra comes back, Lakshmiji is still angry. How come Jagannathji left me with these 3 brothers, sisters? They were gone for so many days. They told me they'll come back in 3 days. And it's in 9th day. And then she gets really angry. And then although Balramji and Subhadraji are allowed inside, but Jagannathji is still outside. And he has to offer her rasgullas to calm her down, and then she opens the door for him to enter. So obviously these are very loving pastimes between Lakshmiji and Jagannath and Vishnu or Krishna. But although he is self-sufficient, but still he needs his devotees for everything. This is his way of reciprocating, actually. And Prabhupada says, and just like Garbhadaksha Vishnu begot Lord Brahma from his navel, he did not take the help of Lakshmiji. So that way, yes, but other ways, he does need Lakshmiji's help, always. Bhajantiya tatvamat eva sadho vyudasta maya guna vibramodayam bhavat padanu smaranadrite satam nimitta manyad bhagvanna vidmahe. Great saintly persons who are always liberated take to your devotion service, because only by devotion service can one be relieved from the illusions of material existence. O my Lord, there is no reason for the liberated souls to take shelter at your lotus feet, except that such souls are constantly thinking of your feet. The karmis are generally engaged in fruitive activities for material worldly comforts. The jnanis, however, are disgusted with searching after material comforts. They understand that they have nothing to do with this material world, being spirit souls. After self-realization, the jnanis who are actually mature in their knowledge must surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, Bahunam Janmanam Ante. Self-realization is not complete unless one comes to the devotional platform. Therefore, it is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam that those who are Atmaram, self-satisfied, are freed from all contamination of the material modes of nature. As long as one is affected by the modes of material nature, especially by Rajas and Tamas, he will be very greedy and lusty and will therefore engage in hard tasks, laboring all day and night. Such false egoism carries one from one species of life into another perpetually, and there is no rest in any species of life. The jnani understands this fact and therefore ceases to work and take to karma sannyas. So Prabhupada is talking about all the three parts, karmis, jnanis, and the yogis. Yet this is not actually the platform of satisfaction. After self-realization, the material wisdom of the jnani leads him to the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Then he is satisfied only in contemplating the lotus feet of the Lord constantly. So even after liberation or self-realization, he understands this is not the way for my satisfaction. Only when he takes shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, he gets satisfaction. Prithu Maharaj therefore concluded that liberated persons taking to the devotional path required the ultimate goal of life. If liberation were the end in itself, there would be no question of a liberated person taking to devotional service. In fact, this is that famous verse of Bhagavatam, Atmaram verse, in which it was said, even Atmaram means those who are liberated, completely self-satisfied, even they like to engage in your devotional service. That is the beauty of devotion service. In other words, a transcendental bliss derived from self-realization, known as Atmananda, is very insignificant in the presence of the bliss derived from devotional service to the lotus feet of the Lord. Prithu Maharaj therefore concluded that he would simply hear of the glories of the Lord constantly, and thus engage his mind upon the lotus feet of the Lord. That is the highest perfection of life. So this is the beauty of Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is all about devotional service. It promotes devotional service only. And of all kinds of devotional service, actually it promotes hearing of the glories of the Lord. Because Parikshit Maharaj, what did he do? He just simply sat down and heard the glories of the Lord. 7 days, 7 nights. He just kept on hearing, asking questions and hearing more and more. And that's how he got perfect in devotion service. Manye giram te jagatam vimohini varam vrinishveti bhajantam athayat vacha nutantya yadite jano asitaha katham punah karma karoti mohitaha. My dear Lord, what you have said to your unalloyed devotee is certainly very much bewildering. The allurements you offer in the Vedas are certainly not suitable for pure devotees. People in general, bound by the sweet words of the Vedas, engage themselves again and again in fruitive activities, enamored by the results of their actions. Srila Narottam Das Thakur, a great Acharya of the Gaudiya Sampradaya, has said that the persons who are very much attached to the fruitive activities of the Vedas, namely Karma Kand and Gyan Kand, are certainly doomed. In the Vedas, there are three categories of activities, namely Karma Kand, fruitive activities, Gyan Kand, philosophical research, and Upasana Kand, worship of different demigods for receiving material benefits. Those who are engaged in Karma Kand and Gyan Kand are doomed in the sense that everyone is doomed who's entrapped by this material body, whether it's a body of a demigod, a king, a lower animal, or whatever. The sufferings of the threefold miseries of material nature are the same for all. Cultivation of knowledge to understand one's spiritual position is also to a certain extent a waste of time, because a living entity is an eternal part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. His immediate business is to engage himself in devotional service. So that's why Narottam Das Thakur says, Jnana Kand, Karma Kand, Keval Vishera Bhand. Vishera Bhand means this is pot only full of poison, nothing else. Only devotional service can give that Amrit. Prithu Maharaj therefore says that the allurements of material benedictions is another trap to entangle one in this material world. He therefore frankly tells the Lord that the Lord's offerings of benedictions in the form of material facilities are certainly causes for bewilderment. A pure devotee is not at all interested in bhakti or mukti, in bhukti or mukti. Neither he wants to bhog or enjoy the material life, or he is interested in liberation. Only thing he is interested in is service. The Lord sometimes offers benedictions to the neophyte devotees who have not yet understood that material facilities will not make them happy. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Lord therefore says that a sincere devotee who is not very intelligent may ask some material benefit from the Lord. But the Lord, being omniscient, does not generally give material rewards, but on the contrary, takes away whatever material facilities are being enjoyed by his devotee, so that ultimately the devotee will completely surrender unto him. So instead of giving him material rewards, he rather takes away all the material facilities. Well, he doesn't take away all the material facilities from everybody. He takes them away from a devotee if these facilities are proven to be a hindrance in his advancement of devotion service. If having material facilities is engaging those facilities in the service of the Lord, then why would Krishna take them away? In other words, the offerings of benedictions in the form of material profit is never auspicious for the devotee. The statements of the Vedas, which offer elevation to heavenly planets in exchange for great sacrifices, are simply bewildering. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Yam imam pushpitam vacham pravidanti avipashchita. The less intelligent class of men, attracted by the flowery language of the Vedas, engage in fruitive activities to become materially benefited. Thus they continue life after life in different bodily forms to search very, very hard. And this is what Krishna wants to avoid, to bestow his devotees life after life. He just wants them to be back in the spiritual world, in this very life only. So if taken away all material facilities or anything that is binding him to the material world, just removing that obstacle. Sometimes that obstacle could be in the form of material prosperity. Sometimes it could be in the form of material health, bodily health, beauty, opposite sex, attraction to opposite sex, somebody's fame, if somebody is attached to the fame, his power, his position, we can say, oh, this, I'm using this for the service of the Lord. I'm using it so I can bring more conditioned souls to the shelter of the Lord, to the lotus feet of the Lord. But if Krishna does not feel that this is making the devotee advance enough, he can remove that. To bring conditioned souls to his lotus feet, he can make other arrangements through somebody else. That's not a big deal for him. But what is the biggest deal is a devotee, if there is some hindrance, anything that is stopping him from taking full shelter, surrendering fully unto the lotus feet of the Lord, he'll remove that hindrance. He'll remove that obstacle. Whatever it might be. So one thing is we should take complete shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. And secondly, if at any time, any point of our life, the so-called or apparent material distresses come, we should understand this is all mercy of Krishna. We should try to take more shelter of his lotus feet, shelter of his holy name, shelter of Prabhupada through his books. Try to take more and more shelter. Because this is a test, and everybody has to go through tests. And there will be bigger and harsher tests later on. So in the association of devotees, that's why Prithu Maharaj also asked for the association of devotees. In the association of the devotees, the real association is when we inspire each other, when we encourage, motivate each other to continue on with the devotion service, when we help each other. Everybody will go through some tough time, sooner or later. Our job is to help each other. And this we'll study later on in the story of Prachetas, how they cooperate with each other. And this cooperative mentality, that is what pleased the Lord. So when we help each other, thinking we all are on the same path and we all are trying to please the Lord, and my fellow devotee, if he or she is in some trouble, let me help him or her. That is what pleases the Lord, and that's what would give us full satisfaction also at the same time. And this is what devotion service is. It's not about memorizing all the shlokas and knowing the Sanskrit, the different meanings of the Sanskrit shlokas. That's good. That's also devotion service. That helps in preaching. But we have to make our heart very soft and help each other, serve each other. That is what is going to please Krishna very much. So we'll stop here. Sorry I went over time today. See anybody has any questions or comments? Okay, so you all have a wonderful and safe day. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.